All right, so I am actually very excited to talk about this today. So basically, there is a YouTube trend. No one's quite put a name to it yet, but recently I read this book called, what is it? It's called Identity Marketing. It's by Veronica Romney. And this explains exactly what's going on here. And okay, so what exactly is the trend? It's basically identity based content. So if you are someone who does educational content, talking head videos, then and you like also get overwhelmed by YouTube, you're definitely going to want to listen to this because this is actually going to make you very happy. Okay, so first we're going to explain sort of like how we got there, or how we got here rather, and sort of like the shift we're in. So basically, for a long time, content creation was very simple. So like if you knew something, then you taught it. If people had a problem, you explained the solution, right? And how to content, it worked because information, there wasn't a lot of information. But today, information is everywhere. And you can search almost anything up on ChatGPT, AI, Google, and get an answer in seconds. So the question it then becomes, if people already have access to all of this information, then why should people listen to it? And also, by the way, if you need help understanding how YouTube works and then how to also position yourself for clients and opportunities this year, then I'm going to put a link down below to join my free workshop. But back to what I was saying, right? So this doesn't necessarily mean that how-to content is not working like completely anymore. Like it's still going to work. It always will. It's often the content that shows up in search. It's going to show up in AI. It's going to answer people's questions immediately. And there's like real value to that. But it does something really specific, and that is it teaches what to do. What it doesn't do is it doesn't explain exactly why you see the world the way you see it. It doesn't go deeper. And that's really the key difference with this sort of like new trend that's out and what it does. So basically, when information is everywhere, the the interpretation of that content then becomes a value, and that's where identity marketing comes in. And again, this book it explains it like head on, but basically what it is identity marketing isn't just like about sharing like everything online. It's about making your point of view visible. It's like it's the difference between like how to grow on YouTube and like, the opposite of that would be like, why you're scared to start recording content. Like it makes people feel something, and it helps them see themselves in the content or in the person that's talking. So, and a brand that this book talks about actually is Harley-Davidson. Not necessarily because of like what they sell, but because like what they represent. And let me know down in the comments sort of like what is your experience with this brand. Like from what I know about this brand, I don't even know it as a motorcycle brand. I've seen covers. I think my brother got like a cover when he was younger for the motorcycle brand. I've seen stickers. But when you think about Harley Davidson, you just don't think about the motorcycle. That's like the whole point of this. You think about a person, you think about like a certain kind of like freedom, certain kind of like lifestyle, and like kind of like rebellion. And so like the identity of it is so strong that like the motorcycle isn't even like the center of it anymore. So people buy stickers, jackets, covers, helmets, whatever the case may be. Not because they need them, but like it kind of signals a strong sense of belonging. Nike, I don't remember if that was the example in the book too, but that is also a really example of like a company that does it like really well. So it doesn't sell the shoes. It sells the belief. It sells the belief that you are an athlete, that like effort matters, and that identity is something that you step into. So basically, you don't buy Nike sneakers, Nike gear because you need to, but you buy into Nike because of like who you believe you are becoming. It thinks back like why it goes back to kind of like why teenagers buy certain things. They buy certain things because they think they're going to be cool. So like, it kind of goes into that. And so identity content does three things. It attracts the right people, it repels the wrong ones, and it also creates loyalty beyond sort of like how-to content. This is why two people can literally teach the same exact topic and have two completely different audiences. It's who the viewer connects to. And so it's not really knowledge sometimes, because we all know it's like identity and what makes that person different. So one person's identity resonated more with the viewer. And also, this is why so much content feels helpful sometimes but boring. And this is specifically for the people who's been like in the content space and the educational space for like a long time. And so I know I've been hearing like a lot of people who've been creating content for a long time, they're simply just tired. They don't want to talk about the same thing. They are tired of explaining the same steps. There's only so many different ways that you can talk about something without literally losing your mind. And there are some people that do this really well, and some people who kind of like stay on topic and can do that. But for some people, it just really makes them kind of sad and kind of makes them want to quit altogether. And that's usually not a motivation problem. It's usually like an identity one. So like when your content is only instructional, it eventually becomes really repetitive. So if you're one of those people who are thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of doing like all this how-to content and whatnot, think about how you can switch it up. Think about how you can dig into like the mindset of things, or like how you can make it more personable. So comparing it to like how to again, so like how to focuses like more on like the execution of it. So like tutorials, the step-by-step walkthroughs, frameworks and processes, and like it answers what should I do, and there will always be a place for it. But identity content, it goes a bit deeper. It speaks to like the psychology behind it, the beliefs, the patterns, and like internal resistance. And these videos right now, these are the videos that you'll see pop up on your YouTube channel, where it's just like a video just like this, where someone is literally just like talking to the screen. It might not even have a thumbnail, but the title is what called out to you to like click on it. And the videos are basically like blowing up. And it's because these videos are making the viewer feel understood. And gosh, it's because it's making the viewer feel understood and not talked at. And so this is like kind of like another reason, and this is for like more advanced viewers, and again, people who've been in the space for a long time. And this is something that I constantly see in like my YouTube coaching. People most likely aren't really they're not confused about the steps on how to do things. They know what to do. They've watched the videos. They've read the posts. They struggle with like becoming the person who follows through on the thing. They're trying to step into a new identity, and that's like very uncomfortable. So when your content speaks to that and you're trying to like help them through that, they're like, okay, this is the person that needs to help me. And that's why it's so powerful. So like, I'm going to give you guys a few examples. Like to see the difference in like practice. And I'll use what I do, for example. I help people with YouTube. So, for example, how to content focuses like on the execution. So, and I have a few of these videos. I have a lot of these videos. So, how to edit a YouTube video in 1 hour. Or how to set up your camera, mic, and your lights, something like that. Again, this content is useful. It answers very clear questions. It performs well in search. and it's going to always be needed. But it mainly helps someone to do a task. But then you get people who are like, they watched all the videos and they know what to do, but they just have that internal resistance. And they just like, being able to do it consistently really becomes a problem. Sometimes it's about time. Sometimes, and this is what I see, it's usually something deeper. So identity content goes into a deeper level. And this is also, these are some more of the things that I want to talk about, like kind of like the psychological reason or the psychology of like posting video content, because there's like, that's also involved when you're like on YouTube as well. So like some type of content that I could post that goes deeper, and I actually am planning to make a few videos on some of these things, is the 3 mindset shifts you need before editing your videos. Like if you think you're just going to sit down and edit your videos without ever doing it ever before in your life, and it's going to take you 2 hours, you are absolutely wrong. It's probably going to take you a really long time. Another thing is why strong women, why very experienced women struggle with visibility. Or, 7 traumatic reasons why you're scared to be seen on videos. Like, these are real things that people struggle with, that the how-to content, it just doesn't touch. So it's speaking to like the resistance, it's speaking to the fear that they have, and it's also speaking to like the internal stories that people carry. So how can you infuse some of this content into your YouTube channel? Also, when you start speaking to these things and you name it clearly, you stop sounding like everybody else. you sound like someone who understands the viewer, and people literally will start perking up in their seat because you're saying the quiet part out loud. Now you have their attention and you don't sound like an AI bot. So, starting this year and beyond, I really think the people who are going to start standing out are not the one who explain information the fastest. And again, there's always going to be a space for it. It's never not going to be a space for how-to content. But also the people who like interpret it, tell you like the deeper reasons why. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Also, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, how does this actually fit into YouTube? That's exactly what I'm going to unpack inside of my free workshop, YouTube for Business. The workshop is going to help you understand how YouTube is evolving in 2026, how you can develop these into series and playlists. I think that was one of my videos that I posted a few days ago. I was talking about sort of like, I forgot what it was called. Crap. I was talking about subscriptions and how that's changed people's attention. But yeah, basically if you want to know or have a clearer picture of where YouTube is headed and how to position yourself, then click the link down below to sign up for the workshop. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.